The following segment is sponsored by Smith Injury Law and 300hurt.com.
You hate to imagine being injured in an auto accident, but if it happens and if there's litigation, you can bet you'll want every available resource to help you win your case. Accident reconstruction experts can make all the difference, and Richard Smith of Smith Injury Law will put them to use for you. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Margaret.
Even seemingly straightforward accidents can present less apparent issues of negligence or which party is at fault, right? Talk to us about that.
Well, basically what happens usually is oftentimes people lie. They basically lie about what happened. And the insurance company has to pretty much rely on what their insured tells them. So if their insured is lying about the cause of the accident, that can make an obvious accident appear to be contested. So one of the things we do is we have access to a accident reconstructionist expert that I use quite often. Anytime I have a case with the injuries are significant, so you can bear the cost of the expert. We have an expert that goes out and examines the area very soon after the accident. He can connect onto the black box of your vehicle, measure skid marks, take measurements of the damage. They can find a lot of information to determine who's at fault. And usually it's kind of like it is with the CSI stuff we hear a lot now with DNA testing and stuff like that. You know, there's a lot of evidence out there that's available that can sometimes, determine who really is at fault and which party is not telling the truth.
Right. So this accident reconstruction expert can analyze all those factors, make it make sense, and then explain it to the jury step by step what happened. How valuable is that testimony?
It's very important, and so far when I've used the expert, I've had at least 2 or 3 cases where they dropped their defense at that point. I mean, they saw the report, they're no longer going to contest liability. So unfortunately, we have people that are involved in accidents that lie. Mm-hmm. They will say things that, that basically now you have a situation where the insurance company has to investigate in more depth because their insured is saying it happened a different way.
Well, these experts that you're able to work with have some specialized areas. Because a vehicle might contain medical evidence, you're also working with medical experts. Tell us what they're able to do.
Well, basically what the medical experts do is really deal with our clients who were injured about what actually happened. Now, there may be a situation where we don't know who the driver was of the vehicle. Maybe there's some medical evidence that can determine that. But usually the medical experts are people that are discussing our clients' injuries and whether or not the accident caused those injuries or that aggravated a pre-existing condition that makes it compensable. It's just one of our experts. We also, if you have a complicated lost wage claim, you may need an economist to determine what the true lost wages are. If the person can't go back to work again, you may need a vocational expert to indicate why they can't go back to work and what types of jobs are available to them as a result of their now permanent injuries. So there's a lot of experts involved, even in a somewhat basic personal injury case, auto accident case, potentially. So you want to make sure that everything is handled professionally and you don't cut corners or do things that are, can cost you later, because once the evidence is gone, it's gone. You can't go back and recreate it very effectively.
Right,
so
and that's
do certain things.
And that's the next thing is the expert's work begins at the time of the accident or as close to that as possible. A quick response is crucial, and that's one thing you do at Smith Injury Law, right?
Absolutely. I mean, we can identify, not all cases this is going to apply to, but in certain cases where there are serious injuries and there is evidence that's going to be no longer available, you have to go get the evidence, you have to secure the evidence, you have to make sure your expert has the opportunity to examine the evidence. And this applies to all kinds of cases. I mean, we've had cases before where defendants have claimed that their brakes were defective and they had them repaired someplace. Well, if you don't have a way of securing those actual brake pads, for example, or brakes involved, you can't prove that that's what caused the accident. So you got to be careful, because sometimes waiting to call an attorney is a big mistake, and that's one of the mistakes outlined in the book.
Your 10 Critical Mistakes book has a lot of great information in it, and auto collisions, we know, are a big part of what you handle at Smith Injury Law. What do you want people to know about your practice in general?
Well, we treat everybody's case like it's a family member's case, basically. We are here to make sure that you get the best compensation you can for the injuries that you have sustained. And we give it a lot of personal time. I spend time on the case, so does my partner, Scott Becky, and we have 2 excellent paralegals, and we use on auto accidents, and also an excellent paralegal I use on workers' compensation and Social Security claims. So we all work together as a team to make sure you get the benefits that you're entitled to, and that you don't get taken advantage of by an insurance company or a defense attorney. And their job is not to protect you like our job is. Our job is to protect you, that you get the best result possible. And if we can't resolve it by way of negotiations, which most cases are settled out of court, we have the ability and we have the professionalism required to go to trial if we have to. Most people prefer the cases settled out of court, and that's usually the best result. But you have to be able to try the case if you have to. And sometimes being professional, preparing the case the correct way, eliminates the need to go to court.
Yep. Well, you do it with all the tools, all the experts you could possibly call upon to have the best result. And people can get in touch with you by calling 300-HURT or visiting 300hurt.com. Richard Smith of Smith Injury Law, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Margaret.